how to create a 3D circuit board-like effect like this in Affinity Photo. Go to the Tools panel and select the Rectangle tool. So Rectangle tool, hold down the Shift and create a square, something like that. Then go to the Layers panel. You can find all the various panels in Window, so brushes and layers, etc. And go to Effects. Just click there. With that, go to Inner Shadow. Make certain it's highlighted. Click there. And then go to Radius, Offset and Intensity. You can push them up to different values. I'm going for 29, 29 and 76. But you can vary it just to create something like that. Then click Close. Now I want to turn this into a brush. And if I go over here, just go right side, and you can see at the moment I can't select it. It's a shape. You need to rasterize it. So with this, I'm just going to rasterize it. So right click and down to rasterize. Make certain you turn that off. Preserve needs to be turned off. So that's turned off. Click rasterize. Now go to brushes, right side, and now you can see new brush selection. It always needs to be a pixel layer. If it's a shape, just doesn't let you. I don't know why. It would be nice if it defaulted to just converting it for you, but it doesn't. So you need to do that conversion. New brush from selection. And you can see then you've got it here. Now you can see some of the earlier examples. Just going to remove it now. Don't need that. Double click and then go to General. You've got all the settings here. You can modify the size. I think that's pretty too high. Maybe I'll go for about 250 as a start point. Also, don't set or set wet edges off. That's probably the best thing. Always prefer that. I think the result with the on doesn't look as good. So go to then Dynamics and Size Jitter. Now I would suggest set it to random, but if you've got an art pad and pen, you could of course just use pressure. But I'm going for random. I'm using a mouse for this. Also Scatter, and also that is also set to random. I put it to about 418, 444. Also, Hue Jitter, set it to 100%. So you end up creating this brush that will generate lots of squares, but at different sizes and scattered all over the place. And close. Go to the Paintbrush tool. That's over here. So Paintbrush tool, and now apply it. And as you do that, you can see the result. Just fills the screen completely with this square design. And you can then resize it, maybe play it a couple of times. Just creates variety there. You could just do that. Reduce it down to say 70 and create some small designs like that. Well, once you've got that, you could use this as the design. It's quite reasonable design. It's got a bit of depth, but you can add a little bit more depth. You can go to Filters, Lighting, and just there. Now, by default, it goes to Spot, which is fine. Key thing is texture. And you can see as you do that, but this area is completely flat and dark, so it's not very useful. You can move it, of course. You can reposition this. And you can create some interesting designs, which you could also use to create this effect. Personally, I just go for directional, and you got that straight away. Now you can, of course, add some additional colours. Always click Add, maybe copy and remove, directional, different variations, also change various ambient, etc. But I'm just going to go with this default setting and directional, and texture set up to about 49, 50, and click Apply. So I've got that. Or what I can then do is I can go over here and I can then use the rectangular marquee tool. Now I could do this multiple times to create multiple patterns, but I'm just going to select part of the image, something like that. I think it's quite an interesting part of the design. Now you could add additional parts to this. You could maybe do the approach with circles instead. So I've gone for rectangles. You don't have to go with rectangles. Maybe create a dot design, or maybe add a dot brush, which you just sort of add droplets over the thing just to give it a bit of an additional difference. And then go to Layer and New Pattern Layer from Selection. And you got that. Now at this point, I think looks pretty good. However, select the Move tool and go to Mirror. So with that, it gives, I think, a bit more roundness to all the design. So you can get this sort of like interesting sort of columns and that sort of effect, and obviously these blocks. And also, if you want, you can rotate it and move it around, reposition it if you want to do that. But also what you can do is you can then maybe go over here, apply some effects. Now you could apply effects at this point. You can go to Filters, Distort and Deform, and just add some there, and you can just distort that, and you can see what happens then if you distort it like that. it just distorts around that sort of pattern defined box, which again can be used to create some very interesting designs, again, which look very three-dimensional circuit board like. But if you don't want that, click cancel. Also, you can always go to filters, go to distort and mirror, and then modify that, and you can see create a variety of different designs. Now, it's not as flexible as I think later on, when I'm just going to show when you apply it to the whole thing, you could do that. So click cancel. Well, with this design, you can always just simply turn around and say rasterize it. So right click and rasterize it. So resize it, make certain it's the size you want, rasterize, and then you can always go to filters, distort and deform, and then you can distort that. So you just create some very interesting, obviously you can see now it's a lot more dramatic design, just moving that around, changing that to create that kind of effect. Doesn't particularly look like a circuit board anymore. But what you can do, filters and distort and mirror is another one. It's really good. Maybe go for a number of mirrors. You can go for, say, 2 and just move that around, resize it, reposition it, go to input, and you can hold down the Alt Option key so that moves around, or just simply click on it and enter a value. And you can see, create some interesting designs that way. But cancel. Now, what I want to do, just going to go back to the pattern. So this pattern design, you can also recolor it. You might not be happy with the colors. You might have got that selected area, colors weren't so great. You can always go to layer, new adjustment layer, and then go down here, maybe use HSL. But you can use any of the other ones, HSL, and then just change colors, maybe tweak the saturation, and then click merge. So you get this pattern design, which you can then again manipulate and modify, resize, maybe make it even there, like that. But what you can also do, turn that, make certain it's not visible, go to this pixel again, make certain you select that layer. If you don't select that layer, you'll be working with this one, which is not the same. So with this, now what you can also do, you can always go to filters, lighting, and then go to directional, maybe apply it again. Just vary it. You can create a variety of different designs. Click apply that way, change texture. You can see then you get this sort of double entry and click apply. But also, exactly the same, you can go to layer and new adjustment layer because you might want to change the colors, maybe decide, what, maybe black and white or HSL again, that's reasonable. Again, tweak that and merge. Well, now you've got this, you can then turn that into a pattern as well. So let's just go over here and down here to rectangular marquee again and select this part. And with that, again, layer and new pattern layer from selection. And you got that. And again, just go over here, move tool and select mirror. And you get, again, a bit more like a circuit board design. And you can move that around, rotate this design, and you can always, of course, bring this one back, then go up here, blend modes, just run through, maybe go for difference or hard mix and so on to create some very abstract designs with these sort of straight lines going clashing backwards and forwards. But also, simply, you can always remove that and just go with what you had there. And again, you can modify it, apply effects to it, and much, much more. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.